this practice is led by Maïté. For more, please hit the subscribe button and visit integrativemindfulnessmovement.com. Lying down yoga sequence. This practice is about connecting with yourself through a series of movements by cultivating the gift of attention in the unfolding experience of the present moment. As you are preparing, wear clothes in which you can move with ease, and find a time and space where you can be comfortable and where you won't be distracted. Let's begin by lying down on our backs in a comfortable position on a mat, allowing the body to settle in with the arms resting along the sides, palms facing up, with the legs outstretched, feet falling away from the ankles, and now being attentive to the overall position of the body, becoming aware of the alignment of the head with the neck, the torso, the legs, and noticing here any natural adjustments the body is needing to feel more ease, and also giving yourself permission to adjust your posture to be more alert and comfortable. Eyes can be closed or open with a soft gaze on a focal point so you are not feeling distracted. And as you are feeling the entire body supported by the ground in this rest pose, see if you can welcome a sense of stillness and release, as well as a sense of presence and wakefulness in the body. The intention here is to cultivate a greater knowing with what is, discovering how we are in each moment, listening to the messages of the body, the mind, and the heart. Remember that there is no goal to this practice. It is enough to show up, to notice any tendency or habit of the mind to judge the experience as being pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. So while you follow along specific instructions for each posture, you are the guide to what is appropriate for your body. And if at any time you determine that certain poses aren't right for you, feel free to modify the pose into a version that is honoring and respecting your needs, or to listen to the instructions while visualizing yourself executing the moves. The same neural pathways will be involved in this process. And now noticing what it's like for you in this moment, seeing the fields of sensations in the body, signaling the life that is here, aware of the natural flow of each in-breath and out-breath, animating different areas of the body. And if you wish, you might like to place your hands on the abdomen to actually sense the felt experience of the movement, even in stillness. A sense of freshness, vitality on the in-breath, followed by a sense of release, cleansing on the out-breath. Exhaling here any sense of tension, fatigue, allowing the muscles and the tissues throughout the body to soften, release into the security, stability, and solidity of the floor. And you might want to spend a few moments here to travel your attention throughout the body, noticing any tendencies towards expectations, and letting go of a sense of already knowing how things are. possibly suspending any judgment as best as you can. And now placing the arms along the sides if they were on the abdomen, palms facing in, and on the next in-breath, floating the arms toward the sky and continuing that arc circle, allowing the arms to frame the ears and rest on the floor. Stretching the entire body from the fingers to the toes, noticing all the other sensations of stretching, maybe in the arms, the shoulders, the armpits, along the sides, the belly, the legs, the calf. Noticing a sense of maybe spaciousness, of release as the body is stretching entirely. And then on the next out breath, floating the arm back up toward the sky and slowly letting them coming down along the sides of the body, feeling any muscular sensation, some sort of efforting, and releasing once they are contacting the floor. Checking in with yourself as you are pausing, any residual sensations or thoughts, emotions arising. And now bending the knees with the legs hip-width distance apart and the feet flat on the floor for a set of pelvic rocks. See if you can, in this new position, bring awareness to the region of the low to mid back. Noticing here the natural curve of the back, slightly arching away from the mat. And then now bringing movement into that region of the pelvis by gently pressing the back towards the mat, noticing here the point of contact of the spine with the floor, and then reversing by gently arching the spine away from the mat, and then continuing, perhaps by coordinating the movement with the breath. On the next exhale, gently rounding the back towards the mat, so as much of the back comes in contact with the floor. And on the next inhale, arching the back away from the mat, noticing here the space between the spine and the mat. And then continuing a few times at your own rhythm. Maybe noticing on the out breath, as you are bringing the back down towards the mat, a subtle contraction in the abdominal wall. And feeling on the in-breath, as you are arching the back away from the mat, a sense of widening into the rib cage. And perhaps expanding the field of your awareness even more here to notice the subtle movement the pelvis is making while the rest of the body is in stillness. So exploring this for a few more rounds. And then whenever you are ready, finding the middle point where your back is not completely pressed against the floor or arched away. Sensing here into your direct experience after the pelvic rocks. Any sensations arising in the body or movements of the mind with thoughts arising or even emotions present. Allowing whatever is showing up with openness and curiosity. And whenever you are ready, folding the knees towards the chest and wrapping the arms either around the lower legs or bring the hands behind the thighs, and initiating some gentle rocks rocking from side to side, noticing here some massaging of the back, maybe moving forward and back or even in circles, allowing perhaps a sense of playfulness to become part of the experience as you are exploring this position in different ways. And now coming into stillness, to lift the head towards the knees, being careful here of the neck by perhaps placing one hand for support behind the neck and head. And now as you are lifting and holding the head toward the knees, noticing here the muscle waking up, the strength of the neck, the abdominal muscles in the belly, holding the pose for a few moments in a duration that is appropriate to you. Noticing here any efforting, changes within the breath, thoughts, emotions in relationship to what's here. And now releasing the head to the floor and completely letting go by stretching the arms and the legs out to the side, coming into rest pose and feeling the effects of the movement while receiving full support of the floor. Noticing here the breath in the body and anything else that is happening within you or around you, including the entirety of your experience. Now transitioning to the next position by bringing the right knee in towards the chest and either clasping the hands over the shin bone or placing the hands behind the thighs, feeling the stretch in the leg and creating movement in the hip joint by circling the leg in one direction. And the other. Exploring the movement possible in the hip joint and the range of motion with smaller or bigger circles. Being fully present with any sensation, thoughts, emotions passing through as you move. And coming to stillness, to now raise the head towards the knee, perhaps even touching the forehead toward the kneecap, and seeing if any thoughts, habits, tendencies to want to push or hold back are coming up. Then now gently let it go of the right leg, releasing the arms along the sides. Taking a few moments here to be in contact with the direct sensations arising within both legs. Becoming aware of the comparing mind. And then tuning in directly to the sensation into the right and left leg. And now bringing the left knee up towards the chest, choosing to place the hand either on top of the shin bone or the back of the thigh. And once again, with freshness, beginning to explore the possibility of movement in the hip joint by circling the leg into one direction. Perhaps sensing here any muscular joint sensations, any thoughts feeling arising as we are sensing the leg moving. And then changing direction, being fully present to what is happening here. Then bringing the leg to stillness. When you are ready, perhaps on the out breath, gently noticing the engagement of the core as you are raising the head towards the knee. Noticing here what is visible, perhaps the head is close to the kneecap or a little further away. Holding whatever is here and showing up for you with a lot of kindness and care. No need to judge the experience or to try to perform or fix anything in any way. Letting go now of the left leg and bringing the arms along the sides of the body to rest in awareness of the entire body, receiving the feedback of the floor and experiencing perhaps a sense of weight, heaviness or lightness, sense of release, of ease or not. Being in touch with whatever is true in this moment. And as we are transitioning into the next movement, seeing if you can be present and awake while you are in this transition. Noticing how the body moves and knows intuitively how to get into this position of the all fours. So now gently turning onto one side of your choice, noticing here the coordination of the body, and then pushing yourself up so that you are onto your hands and knees in a quadruped position. Placing the hands underneath the shoulders and as wide as the shoulders, and the knees underneath the hips and as wide as the hips, with the back elongated like a table. And if you have any issues here through your wrists, make sure to bring your hands into a fist or to come onto your forearms by taking the elbows underneath the shoulders. For any issues at the knees, feel free to add extra padding. So now as you are adopting the pose of the table, creating a firmer base by spreading the fingertips wide like starfish. Now taking a few breaths here, noticing the space around you, below you, on either side of you, in front and behind you. And now animating the pose of the table through a series of cat and cow stretches. Starting by rounding the spine towards the sky to form the shape of a dome, and now arching away from the sky to form the shape of a smile. And continuing the motion here within a range and a rhythm that is working for you. Perhaps even choosing to coordinate the breath with the movement. On the next exhale, rounding the spine towards the sky by tucking the tailbone under and dropping the head between the arms. Becoming aware of what you are seeing here. And on the next inhale, arching the back away by lifting the tailbone toward the ceiling, dropping the tummy towards the floor, opening up the chest bone, and taking the head and neck with you, seeing what's ahead of you in your field of vision. Continuing this motion by perhaps inviting the eyes to a close and exploring sensations from inside out, noticing each vertebrae moving in one direction and the other, and the engagement of the muscles throughout the body. On the exhale, as the spine is rounding, noticing the engagement into the abdominal wall, and on the inhale, as the spine is arching, an opening across the chest. And then gently slowing down the motion to return back to stillness, into table pose. With the spine neutral, the head and neck in alignment with the back, eyes gazing down between the fingertips. And now moving into a balanced pose by extending the right arm and the left leg either on the floor or floating them in line with the back. Noticing here the elongation from fingertips to toes. Aware of the muscles firing in order to hold the pose. Maybe feeling a sense of strength. And noticing here any subtle movement arising as you are balancing. Exploring here how long or how little to hold the pose. Becoming aware of the breath and if you are breathing or holding it. And then whenever you are ready, lowering the right arm and the left leg, returning to table pose, bringing some stillness, perhaps rolling the wrist if necessary. And then now shifting sides by extending the left arm and the right leg, perhaps floating them or not. Aware here of the length across the torso, the width, the stretch happening throughout the body. And maybe here exploring that balanced pose by closing the eyes, becoming aware of the subtle sensations arising in the body through balancing. Noticing a sense of efforting and wanting to step away from feeling the effort being made, or on the contrary, a sense of wanting to push for a certain result. And also exploring here any areas that are maybe contracting, are being tight, held, but do not need to and could actually be supported by a softening, a letting go. For instance, inviting a releasing in the region of the jaw if you are clenching. So bringing full awareness to what's here. And whenever you are ready, releasing the arm and the legs on the floor. And sitting into child's pose by taking the feet together, knees wide, hips on your heels, and either stretching your arms before you along your ears or placing one hand at a time on top of each other like a pillow for your forehead, or arms resting along the sides, palm can be up or down. Spending a few moments here to rest in child's pose, aware of the breath, the belly and the gentle rising and falling of each in-breath, followed by each out-breath, and sensing the stability of the floor underneath you, feeling fully supported and inviting a sense of letting go, sinking the body even more into the floor as you are breathing out, and immersing yourself in the experience of being here without the need to do anything or move for a few moments. In this stillness, seeing what is emerging for you. Thoughts arising, and no need to entertain them, just noticing that they are here and letting them go like cloud in the sky, the rising of feeling, mood, emotion, of sounds around you, and also being aware of reactions, including reactions toward this practice or my guidance, and seeing if you can meet whatever you are experiencing with a sense of openness, curiosity, and a willingness to explore what is showing up for you as it is already here as part of the present. And whenever you are ready, transitioning with the intention to bring full awareness on how the body is moving through that transition, to come to a lying down position on your back with the knees bent, feet flat, legs hip-width distance apart, arms by the sides, palms down, head in line with the spine, eyes on the ceiling to protect the neck. And now pressing the feet into the ground while you are engaging the glutes to lift the hips into bridge pose. Taking a few moments here to hold the bridge. And now releasing the hips back onto the floor. And if you like, and if this feels right for you, repeating the bridge a few more times by incorporating the breath to the movement, and even allowing yourself to play with the breath and noting how that might change the sensations within the body. Now breathing in with the hips on the floor and breathing out to lift the hips, exploring how long or how little to hold here, while continuing to breathe naturally and being in touch with the messages of the body, aware of efforting, contracting, stretching, elongating in other parts of the body. And as you are embracing the full expression of bridge pose, taking a full in-breath followed by an out-breath. And now on the next in-breath, bringing the hips back down. Noticing what is happening to the body in contact with the support of the floor. So now either spending a little more time in the pose that you are in, or initiating the bridge by perhaps this time exploring going up into bridge position with an inhale. So whenever you are ready, breathing in, pressing with the feet, lifting the hips, noticing the engagement of the muscles in the back of the body. And then as you are continuing to hold the pause and noticing whether you are continuing to breathe, seeing if you can, on the next breath, float your arms up toward the sky and back overhead to frame your ears. Becoming aware of the length of the body from the fingertips to the toes, and any sense here of elongating, expanding, and yet perhaps contracting, efforting in some other parts of the body. And it might be in this moment or at any time throughout this practice that sensations in the body are becoming overwhelming and are dominating the field of your awareness. So at any point, if this becomes very difficult, you have a few alternatives. You might choose to mindfully shift into a more comfortable position to relieve some of the intensity. So if that's the case, noticing how you are choosing to move and becoming aware of not only the intention of moving, but also staying close to the move being executed while going toward that position of ease. Another way to work with intensity is to bring closer awareness into that sensation, narrowing the attention into this zone of intensity, paying close attention to what the body is experiencing, like maybe burning or cramping or itching, investigating how this might shift, move, increase or subside. And instead of having any strong critical thoughts or resistance, a tensing, a bracing in this moment of challenging, if you can open into allowing what is here to be part of the experience without adding extra energy towards it, as it is already here, experienced, felt and known in this moment. And even if this is difficult, being aware of the reactions happening. And then, of course, you can always shift the attention back to the breath or a more pleasant area within the body. On your next exhale, floating the arms up toward the sky while coordinating the spine coming down toward the floor, feeling the arms traveling back while the upper back is melting into the floor, the middle back with the rib cage, the lower back, the sacrum, the tailbone, and once the entirety of your torso is touching the floor, just taking a few moments here to receive the benefits, the sensations, the thoughts, the emotions arising out of this pause. Staying here in stillness or inviting a few windshield wipers by gently swaying the legs to the right, to the left, noticing how these movements are perhaps changing the experience felt within the body. Could be a sense of spaciousness, softening, of ease, meeting those areas where it might feel actually good in the body and investigating into them. You might like to place one hand at a time on top of each other behind the head and neck, with the elbows pointing out on either side. Or you might prefer to stretch the arms out wide into a T position. And now creating a spinal twist by either bringing the legs together or slightly apart and lowering the legs to one side of your choice, noticing if you have chosen to go toward the right side or the left, and knowing that there is no right or wrong, simply noticing our tendencies. You might like to keep the head in neutral position with the eyes towards the sky, or to turn it so that you are looking back and away. And as you are exploring the spinal twist here, bringing awareness to the entirety of the spine and how it is spiraling in this position from the head to the base of the pelvis. Taking a moment here to observe and sense the breath in the body, perhaps at the ribs or at the belly, noticing a sense of expansion and deflation, and becoming aware of the parts of the body that are in contact with the ground and the ones that are perhaps not. returning the head and neck if they were looking away, the torso, and then the lower body to return back to center. And whenever you are ready, inviting the spinal twist to the other side, allowing your head and neck to turn back or not. Maybe exploring this side with the eyes closed, aware of the sensations felt from within and on the surface of the body, of the emergence of any thoughts, feelings, of the sensations of breathing. Then returning the body back to center by untwisting first the head and neck, then the upper and mid torso. So you are lying down again, knees bent, feet flat on the floor, back against the mat, head and front torso facing the ceiling. And then on the next breath, floating the right leg up towards the sky at a high diagonal that is suitable for your body. And now circling the foot into the ankle joint, noticing the sensations arising within this region of the body, and choosing a pace and a size of circle that is working for you. And after a few times, circling in the opposite direction. You might like here to add some flexing and pointing of the foot, noticing the muscles that are elongating, stretching as the heel is reaching away from the body, and that are shortening, contracting as the toes are pointing away from the body. Now bringing stillness to the region of the foot and the ankle, and clasping your hands around your thighs or lower leg, wherever comfortable, to invite a deeper stretch in the body. Aware here of any tendencies to want to push or to notice any judgment regarding the flexibility of the body, and remembering that in this moment the body is doing its very best. So finding a balance that is right for you. Then perhaps on the next out breath, engaging the abdominal to lift the upper body and bring the head up towards the knee. Aware here of the muscles that are working and elongating in this position. And gently releasing, bringing the head and neck down, letting go of the leg. Maybe noticing here the difference between the right and the left leg. And now on the next breath, floating the other leg up towards the sky, starting by circling the foot into the ankle joint, noticing here perhaps the subtle sensation of the muscles, the joint, and then reversing, aware of the breath as the foot is moving, continuing with a set of flexing and pointing the toes, noticing the stillness in the upper body while the lower body is in motion. And then pausing the foot, moving into the ankle joint to bring once again the hands around the thigh or the calf, and gently increasing or not the stretch, noticing here the part of comfort, discomfort, neutrality arising within the experience, as well as any thoughts or feelings about the experience. And then choosing to lift the head, neck, and upper torso towards the leg. Aware here of the elongation in the back and the contraction in the front of the body, of the breath. And then letting go and allowing your arms and your leg to be long and outstretched into a rest pause for a few moments. Becoming aware of just this being. Now rolling onto one side of your choice to come into a side lying position and noticing which side that you have chosen. Placing the head into the bottom hand with the elbow bent out to the side, or folding the arm to place the head over the biceps and bending the top arm so the palm of your hands come flat a few inches away from your chest. And then choosing to either keep both legs long outstretched or folding the bottom leg if this is more comfortable for your hip. Now taking a few moments here in this new position to become aware of the alignment of the body from top to bottom, as well as the stacking of the shoulders and the hips. Now on the next in-breath or out-breath, as you would like, lifting the top leg as high or as little as you would like, noticing here any tendencies to want to push yourself and achieve a certain result, or any tendencies to hold back, to resist the move, and seeing if it's possible to feel into what is right for you in this moment. And with the leg floating in the air, checking in with how things are for you in this moment. The experience of breathing, of body sensations, thoughts, feelings. Any reactions or impulses. And on the next in-breath or out-breath, accompanying slowly the leg back down, noticing here the effect of gravity and the muscles working to helping the leg coming back to the start position. From here, transitioning to the other side, aware if you are choosing to roll onto the belly or onto the back. And now preparing the head again by either bringing it into the hand or the arm for support, aligning the body with the bottom leg extended or bent, floating the top leg to any amount that is respectful of your body, seeing here your limits and how you are meeting them and want to work with them, noticing the tendencies to push beyond the limit or to hold far back, or to finding exactly the right amount of efforting and releasing. And with the leg in the air, perhaps with eyes closed or open, sensing within the sensations of the leg, of the rest of the body. Then floating the leg back down, noticing the top leg now meeting the bottom leg, perhaps receiving a sense of release, of ease, of comfort as the leg is resting from floating. And now transitioning into a prone position to lie down onto your belly, placing one hand at a time on top of each other, right underneath the forehead, eyes and nose pointing down towards the floor. And in this position, noticing the breath into the belly. On the in-breath, the belly button coming closer toward the floor, and on the out-breath, the belly button slightly pulling away from the floor. Making sure here that the hips are evenly pressed into the mat to protect the low back. On the next in-breath, gently engaging and contracting into the region of the glutes and hamstring to float the right leg a few inches away from the floor. And on the next exhale, returning the leg, releasing any muscular effort in the lower body. Breathing in, this time floating the left leg, aware of a sense of elongation and contraction into that leg. And then gently letting go of that left leg, returning it to the ground. As you are continuing to lie down onto your belly, making sure now that the head is turned, so the nose is facing down towards the floor. The arms are elongated towards the side with the palm by the hips facing either up or down, and the toes are pointing behind you, top of the feet against the floor. And now pressing evenly through the hips and pubic bone and firming up the buttocks to protect the low spine. On the next in breath, float the upper torso by initiating the movement from the space in between the shoulder blades, as if there was a string pulling you up, and back bending your body so your head, neck and upper torso lifts gently off the floor. And if you are noticing some compression in the cervical spine, inviting a little bit more space in the back of the neck by tucking the chin more towards the chest and pointing the eyes towards the floor rather than forward, and noticing a sense of elongation into the back of the neck. And now expanding the awareness to the entire shape of the body in this position, noticing any sensations floating through the body, including thoughts passing by and emotions arising or dissipating, as well as the breath. And on the next out breath, releasing the upper body into the ground. And if you like, placing one hand at a time on top of each other to make a little pillow for your head, or turning the head to the right or the left. And resting here in awareness of what it's like to being here in this moment. And now transitioning by bending the elbows and placing the hands underneath the shoulders to press back into child's pose with the feet together, knees wide. Pausing for a moment here, aware of the shape of the body. At your own pace, holding onto one side of your choice, noticing which side you are choosing, and lying down on your back. With the legs extended, feet falling away from one another, and arms along the sides wherever comfortable. Palm turns up towards the sky, aware of the spine aligned and the orientation of the body, front and back, right and left sides. Perhaps inviting the eyes to come to a close if that feels right for you. And sensing the body from within and its 3 dimensions. Sense of length and width, of height and weight. Sensing the points of the contact the body is making with the ground, and allowing a releasing, a surrendering of the entire body into the mat, receiving the full support of the earth below you, completely letting go as you are breathing deeply, slowly, feeling any sensations of the air traveling in and out of the body naturally. And as you are stilling the body into a rest pause for a few moments, scanning with awareness the entirety of your being, from the crown of the head to the toes, noticing any and all physical sensations in and within the feet, lower legs, knees, upper legs, pelvis, lower back, middle back and region of the abdomen, upper back and chest, shoulders, upper and lower arms, hands, neck and head, attending the entire body being breathed, nourished on the in-breath, cleansed on the out-breath, and noticing as fully as possible how things are right now, how the conditions of the mind and the heart are showing up. Bringing awareness to your entire being and feeling perhaps a sense of completeness, acknowledging the efforts that you have furnished into exploring your mind and body without judging your experience. You might even congratulate yourself for making the time to increase the flexibility of your own attention while nurturing yourself with this sequence. And now, if you like, as this practice is coming to an end and you are moving forward, forming the intention to take care of yourself by dedicating some time each day to nourish your mind, body and heart while cultivating awareness to each and every moment of your life.